Let's throw our hands in the air as we soar through the sky.
Yatta!
We'll catch the sun with your hand in mine, and if we work as a team, everything will be fine.
Yeah!
Oh, it's Cure of the What Now?
Let's henshin and start the show!
Hello, fellow lucky winners of the premium tropical melon bread, and welcome to Cure of the What Now, the only show where... Wait a second. Where did it go? Where did my bread go? I won that bread. It was the last day. Joel, it was sitting on the table. Have you seen it?
Nah, it wasn't me. I'm Joel, the co-host, and I couldn't have taken the melon pan because I was going to the fridge and getting a delicious Diet Coke.
Well, I'm Kat. I couldn't have taken the melon pan because I was busy playing with my dog, my brand new dog.
But your dog is super intelligent, so perhaps you trained her to come in and take the melon pan and retrieve it in a fetch sort of manner, and you made it look like you weren't in the room. The perfect crime.
My little sharp teeth. No, man. No. If I had premium tropical melon pan, I would have it to share with you.
Ah, and if I ate it, I would explode because I can't eat gluten. I just thought I would bring that up.
What a bummer. Tropical Rouge PreCure. What a show. We often have discussion questions to lead in the episode, and I believe this week is your turn.
Yes, of course. So, like we've discussed many times before, I have a couple of standby questions. So this isn't really related to today's episode in any way. But what D&D classes would the Tropical Club members choose or best represent them?
Songo's gotta be some kind of healer.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking cleric. She gives off big prayer vibes to me.
Okay. Now, see, I've played D&D like once or twice. I'm vaguely familiar with it. I don't think that it's like nerdy. It's just not my thing. So, is Druid a race?
No. Druid's a class.
Druid is a class? Okay. And how's that different from, like, cleric is you have a god. Druid is like nature stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Druid is like you can speak to nature and you can do spells. You're basically a wizard who's
like nature-based or something? Okay. Yeah. And then what did Drist become in the books? Did he become a ranger eventually?
He was a ranger.
Okay. Anyways, now that I think about it, I was going to say maybe Laura could be Druid because she seems like she'd be in touch with nature, but also she's got the kickies, so she would definitely be a monk and she would specialize in only kick attacks.
I love that. Okay. So, Manatsu would have to be a barbarian, right? I think she would be a berserker class barbarian.
Rampaging and pillaging is the most important thing right now, and at all times.
Exactly. Laura, what's the most queenly class, do you think?
Maybe like a priestess? Oh, is that a class? Geez, I really should not have written this question down.
Yeah, we don't know very much about D&D. That's okay.
Here, So I did, in fact, look up the list, and here is the quick list of the basic vanilla classes in 5e. Barbarian, Bard, Cleric, Druid, Fighter, Monk, Paladin, Ranger, Rogue, Sorcerer, Warlock, Wizard. And I don't know what Tasha's... Oh, these are extra classes from editions. There's also Artificer and Blood Hunter.
Artificer... Blood Hunter, that's awesome. I need to figure out what that is. Artificer is my favorite class, but it's never been allowed in any campaign I've played, and it's not relevant to the Tropical Rouge girls. I
mean, well, I guess Minori isn't necessarily the inventor type, but like Laura would be an artificer if we were talking about Star Twinkle. The only class...
You said Laura.
What did I say?
Did you...
Oh, Lala. Jeez, Louise. My brain is just in two different places right now. So Wizard is the only one whose primary ability is intelligence. There's a couple on here that are wisdom, which might also fit Minori, but I really like Wizard for Minori for that reason.
Absolutely.
They learn their magic through books, as opposed to a Warlock makes a bargain, and a Sorcerer is just born with that blood, so... I like Laura doing the kickies, but I could also see her either being a Warlock or a Sorcerer, based off of either being born with the abilities or wanting to be queen so bad she makes a deal.
I like the, she made a deal with the demon, and the demon is Karurun.
Karurun is her familiar. Yes, please. Okay, that's canon. I don't care what any of the other suggestions are. You've given me a good idea of what to draw when I next get my motivation.
Excellent. That Tropica Shining.
Absolutely.
Do the most important thing right now.
Okay, so we have not yet talked about Asuka, who I think could fit into one of the physical, like monk, fighter, or barbarian, but since we've kind of already covered that with Manatsu, I could see her as a ranger, like the long range takes people out from afar type of thing.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense to me.
So I have one more tangential question.
Okay.
Who would be funniest, not who would fit the best, but who would be funniest as a rogue?
Manatsu.
Songo being an assassin who's like, I'm sorry, and she's like covering their mouth and dragging
That's
them off.
funny for the same reason that Werewolf Songo is so perfect and funny. Like, she's just so cute. Manatsu would be funny because she's so loud. I can't imagine her being any good at it.
I heard a story, and I mean, this is one of those things that goes viral on social media all the time, but it was something like someone played an orc who was a rogue, but had really bad dexterity, or whichever one is your sneak roll, but they were very good in intimidation, so they would just go up to people and go, see orc, and it worked every time.
That's incredible. I love that.
Manatsu is a dragonborn, and they're like, what element? And she's like, Tropica Shine element. They're like, that's not in the book. And she's like, Tropica Shine element!
Is this her, like, in-universe or her playing D&D?
This is like her playing D&D at the tabletop with all the others.
Okay.
Minori would be the DM, like, obviously. Laura would not listen to the rules, and Asuka would be a big stickler for things. And Songo would always try to keep the team on track for, like, what the actual story mission was, but Manatsu would be too ADHD, and Laura would be too, like, I want to sneak into the castle and become the new queen. And they're like, that's not what the story is about.
I kill the princess and I take her clothes. Not in a weird way.
I thought you were going to say take her skin or something. And so, that's actually what you said is actually less creepy somehow.
I did it. I did it. Joel, I loved that discussion question. Do you want to give me a succinct summary for episode 20 of Tropical Rouge PreCure?
I do, but really quickly. You made a joke in your intro about having a new puppy, and that is 100% canon if you only listen to Cure of the What Now. Actually, even if you listen to both podcasts, this episode's going to go live before the other one that we recorded. We have got a new Australian Shepherd puppy, and she is a delight, and Twitter will have pictures of her eventually.
Yeah,
pretty soon.
Absolutely. We shockingly did not name her after PreCure, but she does have a Japanese name, so.
She is Gigi for old man derogatory. Or rude, I guess. It's not derogatory, but it's less formal than...
She has a little white beard. She looks like a little grandpa.
Absolutely, and she's just full of puppy wisdom, such as bite everything that you can find and try to wiggle your body in order to escape the pen that you've been locked inside.
Also, if a strange dog approaches, barking very loudly is sure to make them go away. Absolutely.
Now, episode 20 of Tropical Rouge PreCure. I almost said Cure of the What Now. There's been a mystery, and it must be solved, and it turns out that Minori might be the best suited for the task. Now, you might be thinking that a murder has occurred, since this is a very dark school. It's Danganronpa up in here, but no, it's Manatsu won the special bread, and it has gone missing. So the very beginning of the episode, she wins it, she sets it down, realizes she forgot her wallet, and leaves, and when she comes back, it's gone. And everyone seems to have alibis, but everyone also seems to suspect everyone's allies, because this bread is so amazing that of course they would betray each other in an attempt to get it, and they all swear they didn't eat it. And then the bad guy shows up, and it's Changi-Ray this time, and they try to attack, and even though they said they put their differences aside, they're still a little suspicious of each other. But
so
then
their teamwork isn't
working, and they're unable to beat the monster. But then La Mer realizes that she indeed ate the tropical melon pan without realizing that's what it was, and she confesses, and everyone apologizes, and then they beat the bad guy, and everything is happy. And then it turns out that there's a place they can go to just buy the bread, and so they get the bread anyways.
But this time it's better because they get to eat it together.
Yeah, there's 5 pieces or whatever. And that has been your succinct summary.
That was an incredible succinct summary. There wasn't really a lot of meat to this episode. Nothing complicated happened,
Sure.
right?
Mhm.
But it was a fun episode. Did you like it?
I liked it a lot, yes. Manatsu was so excited when she got the bread, and then she had such good facial expressions. They did this, like, hypothetical thing where each of them, when they're checking each other's alibis, they're like, oh, but what if you snuck in, or what if you did X, Y, or Z? And it always shows them in this, like, crayon drawing with, like, shark teeth picking up the bread and chomping it, and they go, and it was delightful. It was amazing.
Well, and it's funny, too, because they made a point of saying that everyone in the school knew Manatsu won the tropical melon pan, the premium tropical melon pan, but who's the one person who probably wouldn't have been paying attention? Laura.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as always, I will be the devil on the shoulder who points out things about this episode that I didn't like as much. I understand that they wanted to write the mystery in such a way that, no one was malicious, no one stole from Manatsu and ate the bread, but, like, Laura's like, oh, I was sleeping in the mermaid aqua pot, and they're like, well, the special melon pan is gone, and she realizes that when she woke up from her nap, she opened the fridge and ate mysterious melon pan bread that she'd never seen before, and, like, I get that maybe she was just trying to, like, focus on, maybe she wasn't thinking about that, but when someone says, the bread has gone missing, maybe the person who has eaten bread in the last 5 minutes should be like, oh, wait, hang on a second.
Maybe she just forgot in the excitement of everything, because it really seemed like she had a moment where she went, oh shit, I ate some bread.
Yeah. Well, and you could kind of tell if you were, like, pausing every, like, a minute or so and trying to, like, guess where the episode was going to go. She's the only one who specifically asked what the bread looks like, which, from a writing perspective, of course, the person who accidentally ate it would need to know that information. Honestly, I really thought that I was kind of thinking maybe it would be Karurun, because Karurun can't communicate the same way that the rest of them do, so they would all blame each other and then eventually they would realize. Or it had simply gone missing. I had hoped that they would find the bread and they would share it, and they kind of did that without actually subverting the trope.
Absolutely, yeah. When I saw it at the beginning and it was all the different colors, I was like, oh, okay, so maybe they're gonna get into a fight over who Manatsu will share it with. And Manatsu at the end is like, silly girls, there's 5 corners to this star. There's one piece for each of us we can share. But that's not the direction they ended up going. Minori is so fantastic.
Yes, so we have talked before about how one of the only seasons of Sentai that we've watched all the way through is ToQger, and in that series, I've already forgotten all of the character names. I'm so sorry. The
Green Ranger.
But the Green Ranger, I didn't like him in the first couple of episodes because he didn't really have much of a personality. But then it turns out, as the season went on, they gave him a detective kind of shtick that he really enjoyed. And then he was also competitive with the main, the Red Ranger. And here we have Minori, who for the first couple of episodes wasn't really my favorite because she wasn't very expressive. And now she has, like, this hidden side where she wants to play detective.
I love that the one who's really into reading and everything is also the one who's really into role-playing.
Yes.
She's like, I'm gonna pretend to be my favorite character. I am Detective Picarine. Kin. Nobody else can kin him. It's me.
Yeah. 2 more things. I love that Manatsu was so shocked that the bread was gone that she fainted, but as soon as Minori started role-playing, Manatsu was like, oh my god, I get to be the assistant. This is way more important than me being passed out. And then I also love that instead of giving her, the corncob pipe or the curved pipe or the hat that is so iconic of Sherlock Holmes, they went with, like, these kind of ridiculous star glasses, but I'm for it,
Yeah, well, because Picarine means, like, shining, I think.
I believe so, yeah. Pika definitely means, like, some kind of version of that.
So he's the detective who's always shining, I guess.
Absolutely.
Did you have any favorite scenes or quotes from this episode?
I already covered the gremlin teeth, but I really think that there's only one quote that stood out, and I'll give you the honor. So, you definitely laughed a little bit louder than I did, but we were both laughing.
It turns out, while Manatsu is trying to solve the mystery of her snack going missing, Changi-Rei's snack has also gone missing, and you can see Dr. Numeri and Elde sitting there eating it, and he goes, where did you get that pudding? And they go, it was in the fridge. And he goes, that was my pudding. And they go, well, your name wasn't on it. And then the butler sends him away to do crimes. And Manatsu realizes, the snacks aren't important. What's important is our friendship, and I don't like that this is tearing you guys apart. It's not upsetting me as much as it's upsetting you all. And Changi-Ray from his little boat yells, I won't forgive. Snacks are more important.
As someone who gained a bit of weight during the pandemic, I can certainly understand that feeling.
Oh, yeah. Well, and, I plan all of my meals in advance, in the morning usually. And so there was one day in the last month where, I went to work and I was thinking about what I was going to eat today, and I was like, I have some Doritos left at home. I'm gonna make a grilled cheese, and I'm gonna eat my Doritos. And then I got home, and all of the Doritos were gone, and I had a little bit of a meltdown trying to figure out, what am I going to eat now? I planned for those Doritos.
I can't believe our orange cat stole all the Doritos and then made it look like I had eaten them somehow.
Must be that Doritos are orange, he's orange. He just figured, color
Absolutely.
matching. It was for him.
Really quickly, while we're discussing eating, you will notice that the puppy is adding some ambient sounds by chewing on a bone. I hope that the mic isn't picking it up, but I'm guessing that it will be in there. I'm somewhat embarrassed, but at this point we've recorded too much for me to go back and re-record or whatever.
Yeah, well, and hopefully, like you said, it edits it out because we captured it in the silence. Like we said, we have a new puppy. She has to hang out with us. This is how we're keeping her busy so that she's not eating the podcasting studio while we're recording.
Yeah, she totally Tropica shines and Kira Yaba and all the other ones.
Here's a bonus discussion question for you.
Sure.
If you were going to name her after a PreCure character instead, what would you name her?
Oh, that's kind of hard to pick. Is there a character who kind of is really laid back? I mean, I guess most of the pinks are kind of like that. Really energetic though at the same time. I don't know. Maybe I'm associating it because she's always around animals, but Inori from Fresh. I just noticed too, we kind of picked Fresh, not really at random, we picked it because it has Momozona Love, but we're watching at the same time as Tropical Rouge, and in one of them there's a yellow cure named Inori, and in the other one there's a yellow, arguably orange cure named Minori.
Absolutely. I want to call out Fresh PreCure here for a second.
Okay.
Cure Pine.
Yes.
I thought, pine, that's kind of an odd choice, but we do eat pine nuts.
Sure.
So I guess, pine trees are a fruit.
Yeah.
No, she's Cure Pineapple. She's Cure Pine as in Cure Pineapple. And that also explains why she's got the poofy bell sleeves, because that's what a pineapple looks like, and why she, I had another that explained why she's yellow. Pine trees aren't yellow. Pine trees are green. So I felt rather foolish, rather silly for forgetting that pineapples existed.
Well, but the other two are Cure Peach and Cure Berry. They are named after the full fruit, and she is just Cure Pine. And maybe they didn't want 3-syllable names, but they get Cure Solier later. That's 3 syllables. So I really don't understand. Milky Rose, her name is 3 syllables. But yeah, we watched an episode where there was a sick child, and they gave her a get well card from the PreCure, and there was a pineapple behind Cure Pine's pictures. And that's when it clicked for both of us.
Yep, absolutely. So I feel a little foolish. Going back to this episode, I really like that even though Manatsu was super excited to eat this bread, there was no dramatic moment of oh, I'm so furious at Laura, how will our friendship recover, right? There was no my friends are fighting. You broke
something inside of me. I will never get over this.
My friends are fighting, but where's my bread? She cares more about the relationships with the people around her than she does about the bread.
Of course she does. Yeah, do you think that each of the different star corners were a different flavor?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it was papaya flavored for the yellow corner? Papaya melon pan?
I mean, how many tropical flavors can you name? Because I can name pineapple, papaya,
passion fruit, maybe? Is that a...
I can't remember. What was Manatsu and Laura's favorite flavor that they shared?
I don't remember. I really don't. Yeah, anyways, I don't know where I was going with that question, but I just thought that I would ask. Is there anything else from this episode that you want to kind of point out?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it was a good episode, but we kind of covered it all. Like I said, there wasn't a lot of like thickness to it, but it was fun to watch.
It was excellent. So, Futari Wa.
We did watch that,
Yeah, they murdered a woman in Futari Wa.
To be fair,
yeah.
this wasn't their first murder.
To be fair, it wasn't their first murder. That's absolutely true. And to be fair, she was giving them quite a thrashing. It's just funny to put the word murder humorously in like a children's show, you know, like a show for younger people. But so the quick update is that the Dark Lord is getting really antsy, and I think they've hinted at some point that maybe he's like withering away and they need to like save him. So Poisony goes, all right, I will put my life on the line. Side note, I'm not really sure if her plot really was more dangerous to her than it had been in the past, but she basically pretends to be Honoka, and Nagisa has to figure out which Honoka is real. And at first you'd think, oh, just say something like, who's your homeroom teacher? What's your favorite color? That sort of thing. But it turns out the Poisony actually has the deets. And so Nagisa can't figure it out, but then they have like a journal that they can write in and share. And so Honoka quotes that, and Nagisa goes, oh, you're the real one. And then they fight her, and she becomes this like Medusa kind of monster. She doesn't really transform, but her hair becomes a weapon. And they try to hit her with their special friendship blast, and she dodges it. And they're like, if you can't hit me, it's not going to work. And they're like, oh, what are we going to do? But then she grabs them with her hair, and they use the blast and direct it into the hair. So even when she teleports away, it still follows up into the roots.
That was a cool final defeat.
Yeah. If only she had seen Naruto, she would have known to like cut off the hair before it got to her.
There were two things about this episode that I thought were interesting. Her death seemed to affect Nagisa much more strongly than the previous two villain deaths did.
Yeah, Passard and Genki Drago.
Right, and I'm wondering if it's because it's like an accumulation of like, wow, we've murdered 3 people now.
Oh, she's getting like a cumulative, like kind of PTSD type of thing. Maybe it was because they came closer to death. I know that she got quite upset, Nagisa specifically got upset when Genki Drago took his final form because her brother was in danger. But I don't remember it being a particularly hard fight. This one, they were, like, getting dragged through buildings and stuff and being taunted. And there was a pretty good quote that you wrote down. But I think it's probably a little bit of both. It's probably the accumulation, and also the fights are getting more serious at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other thing that I thought was really interesting, Poisony and Kiria have had kind of a contentious relationship this whole time. Like, very much a big sister, little brother kind of relationship.
Yeah.
But then, after she dies, the moment he realizes, like, he's slowly been learning to like the PreCure more and, like, wanting to be friends with them. But now his big sister is dead, and he has a scream on a cliff moment. And so I think he's gonna have to reconcile, like, I hate you, but I love you, but I hate you, but I love you.
Absolutely. Yeah, if I had to guess, and I don't have foreknowledge of what happens later in the series, but I think that he's going to try and attack them and enact his final plan, but at the last moment, his heart will be swayed. But I really don't know if the 2 remaining bad guys can actually give up their prism stones that seem to be purified when they're defeated, so maybe they're gonna have to take him out back. beat up this small child boy who is starting to develop feelings because they need to bring back the fountain, or land of fountains, fountain of hope.
The land of fountains, because this is the land of rainbows.
Okay.
No, fountains is field of light. This is the field of rainbows. Their world is the field of light. Fountains is Splash Star.
Oh, the next real season, not the sequel season to this one. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
But yeah, so that Poisony quote that I wrote down, I want to touch on it really quick. Justice that doesn't go hand in hand with power is just inferior to evil. That's such a One Piece line. Like, I could see Don Quixote do Flamingo saying this.
If you don't have the power to back up your claims, what can you do? Yeah, I like it. And I've always kind of suspected that the PreCure are getting stronger from one episode to the next, even though it's not always explicitly stated. But in this first episode, where they're laying the groundwork, they do say, I believe at the beginning of the episode, Nagisa's like, oh, are we getting more powerful because we were able to defeat that evil Piccolo guy? And so I think that through this episode, throughout this intense fight, they have leveled up their power of justice, which also makes their power of heart strong. You know what I'm saying? They go hand in
Yeah,
hand.
absolutely. So I really liked that. Do you have any other Futari Wa thoughts, or do you want to move on to your Kira Kira?
How are these last two guys going to last 28 more episodes?
I don't think they are.
Okay. So I think I've brought this up before, but like earlier there were like 3 people left. But now there's literally just 2, and Kira seems like he's going to go into his like final attack, his final form in the next couple of episodes. So I'm wondering how the Dark King or Jaku or whatever his name is will get more minions.
Yeah, I just want to touch on that really quick. Maybe we have before, maybe we haven't. I clearly hear them saying Dark King, but in the subtitles we watch, it's translated as like Jaku King with a J and some Y's. There's a K in there, so who knows?
Yeah, so we had that episode with the Ivanhoe just shortly went up on Patreon, but he was saying that the company tends to have like official terms that should be used by translators, and that's why you got rate or rate in Healing Good instead of the obvious latte. But I'm curious why they would be like, no, he's not saying, you know, the kind of Japanese version of the English word dark. He's saying Jaku. I don't know. Maybe that's one of those like hidden plot twists that they're going to reveal at the end of the series, and we're not supposed to pick up on it right now.
like the thing in ToQger.
Yes, exactly.
Which got me so good, and I'm so proud of the fan translators for not ruining it.
Absolutely.
They did a good job. Watch ToQger if you haven't seen ToQger. It's my favorite Sentai season.
Absolutely. Now, we also have a Kira Kira update, and gosh, is Cure Whip / Ichika and CL, are they my OTP or what? Now, I know a little bit about what's going to come up, and I know that CL kind of gets paired up with Biberi more frequently, and I know that Ichika and Rio spend some time together, so I think those are probably the common ships, but just like the way that Ichika like hangs off of her every word, and she literally catches CL after she transforms in the kind of like bridal Carrie style position, and then CL blushes when she realizes that she's talking to one of the PreCure, and I know that's admiration, but maybe it's also something else.
There's a very fine line between admiration of a hero and other emotions.
Wanting to press your face cheek against their face cheek.
Exactly, wanting to give them gentle head pats.
Yeah, so literally all I wrote down for the succinct summary is just CLX Cure Whip, also bear pancakes.
The bear pancakes were very cute. Do you love CL yet?
Yeah, of course I do. She's amazing. I liked her even last episode, but I love that, she's like sprinting around and she has like a fairy's swiftness, but Ichiga's able to keep up, but not quite as primly. She has like the twigs in her hair and stuff like that, and they climb up a tree and Ichiga almost falls, and oh, it's just so good. And when she gets surprised, she says Pika at the end of her sentence, and everyone's like, did she just say Pika?
Yes, I'm a big CL fan.
Yeah, no. She's an excellent character, and I appreciate her dynamic between her and Ichiga, not just for the shipping potential, but like CL is already like pretty much perfect at everything that she tries to bake. And
no, she's parfait.
Right. But she's pretty much perfect, pretty much parfait at everything that she does. And Ichika is so-so, pretty average. She tries really hard, but her food isn't anything to write home about. But at the end of the episode, CL was kind of like marveling at how much Kira the food produced by simply being in the shape of a bear. So I think they'll complement each other quite nicely as the season continues.
Absolutely. Can you imagine like a Cure pancake who's a bear? And they've got little bear ears.
I think you're talking about Mofarin, right? A crossover between Mofarin and...
I don't know that name.
Oh man, we have a Discord and we did a watch together in the very first series, or did we watch something else?
No, that
we
was
started
the
with
first
Witchy.
one.
Okay, the first thing we watched was Maho Tsukai, and Kat and I were firmly in the Ha is the best, most adorable creature to have ever graced this planet. And then we had a couple of other people in the Discord who are very excited about Mofarin, and both sides are right. They're fictional characters and they're both adorable, but I personally liked the little fairy better, and they personally liked the bear better.
Ah,
Ha!
Gosh, every fairy should wish they were as cute as Ha.
Absolutely.
That's all I had to say. Ciel in her fairy form is a pretty solid fairy, I'd say.
I've only seen her for like 2 seconds because they haven't quite gotten to the reveal yet, but I believe the next episode is when they get into that.
The shift from human voice to fairy voice is less jarring and horrible than in Yes PreCure 5.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Where it goes from Coco to the hot guy. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, we don't always give regular fresh PreCure updates. We don't want this to become like a hour-long podcast where we talk about like 8 different episodes of shows, but I have to say, I love Westar with all of my heart. He is the best. He has the best facial expressions.
Just a himbo.
He's empty-headed, and he's so great.
The other villains are so mean to him, and it breaks my heart because he's just like a big, beautiful puppy of a boy.
Yes, I hope that his redemption arc is that he puts, Solar in like a suplex and like breaks his head on the pavement or something.
I love the idea of Kaoru secretly like fathering him. Like after a defeat, Westar's like sitting like slumped against the back of the donut truck and Kaoru leans around the corner with a bag of donuts.
Yes.
Hey buddy, looks like you've been through a rough time. You know who else had a rough time?
Jesus? I was imagining him being like a preacher all of a sudden, like...
That was exactly the vibes I was going for,
okay.
So...
I do also want to say I am very thankful. So we had an episode where Cure Peach got a power-up, and then we got an episode where Cure Pine got a power-up. But in this episode, Cure Berry is meta-aware of the fact that she doesn't have her power-up, but she knows that she should have one. And so she kind of like takes the baby fairy to be like, oh, maybe if I bond with her, and she ends up learning a lesson anyways. And then also at the end of the episode, because you're like, oh, she's closer to this baby fairy, she's going to be more mothering. And she is, but she's less doting than the other two. She's the strict, you're going to eat all of your vegetables, finish all of your homework. I expect A+ results from you.
I love her glasses wearing librarian look.
Absolutely. So, really quickly, I've kind of made it an unofficial rule that I'm only going to include things in the thumbnail if we talked about them. So that's why I had to sneak in some fresh PreCure, because the glasses look and a couple of Westar's dumb faces need to go into this thumbnail.
Okay, fair enough. So we don't have any thoughts from the crew or tweets in a bottle this week. I'm going to keep saying thoughts from the crew, but we don't have any letters from the public to discuss.
Yes.
So hit me up with your theories. You have something written down, but I'm not sure I know how to parse it.
I intentionally did not want you to know what I was writing down so that you would be surprised by my theory. So we can't really make a prediction about what the next episode is going to be. This show is so episodic. I thought with the 7 wonders or the 7 school mysteries that we would get kind of like a mini arc of episodes that kind of loosely connected. But obviously, they're saving the real plot developments for the second half of the series. So next episode, we'll start to get the hint of that when a rift in space-time opens and Manatsu and Sango from the future arrive. And one of them's going to have an eye patch, and one of them's going to have a laser gun. So I'm going to say that Manatsu is going to have the eye patch, and Sango is going to have the laser gun. And it's going to turn out that the 5 Tropical Rouge PreCure members are strong enough to defeat the Witch of Delays, but only if they're all together. And soon a tragedy will befall the school, and they're going to lose Minori and Asuka and Laura. And so here's the thing. One of them is going to be like missing, presumed gone from this world or whatever. One of them maybe slipped into an alternate dimension, but one of them has turned traitor, and future Manatsu and future Sango will not tell the crew who it is.
It was Minori. Minori turned traitor because she was so shocked by the loss of Asuka that when the Witch of Delays approached and said, I can take your pain away, I can make you a mermaid, she said yes, she embraced it. So now she's a mermaid working under the Witch of Delays.
Of course. And that's been your doot final thought outro goes here. Thanks for listening, everyone, and don't forget to Tropica Shine.
Pretty cute.
Do you want to say goodbye to the people? You don't know speak yet. Okay. The puppy is definitely sending her thoughts and energy your way. What's most important to her right now is trying to chew a hole through all of our furniture. Ha! What a great episode of King of the What Now, your One Piece podcast that started from the very beginning and stars these two doofuses. If you want to follow us on social media, Twitter is the best place to do that. I am at KOTWN_pod.
And I am at Pirate Ghost Host.
Absolutely, yes. We share all sorts of thoughts on there, some related to the podcast, some related to other things. But you can also reach us through email at kingofthewhatpod@gmail.com, or you can also find us on Patreon. We would love some subscribers or supporters, whatever the technical term is. Patrons. So fancy and grown up. And you can find that at patreon.com/kingofthewhatpod. You can find all sorts of things like bonus episodes, and you get to see the full cold open candidates, not just the ones that make it into the episode. Maybe someday if I learn to draw, I'll put stuff up there. We're always looking for suggestions and feedback. And speaking of which,
please take a moment to rate and review our podcast wherever you get us from. So iTunes, Spotify, Scrivener, that's for writing. But wherever you listen to our podcast, take a moment to leave a review. It helps other people find us. We are so grateful to all of our listeners, and we couldn't do this without you.
Absolutely. Word of mouth is super powerful, so if you have a friend who likes One Piece and they haven't heard of us, just direct them to the latest episode. And if they hate us, they can tell us why. And if there's an actionable item, we'll try to please you. That's how this works. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.